is now
Wow.
live streaming Fortnite.
Yeah,
Is
he
it true
is.
we are more mushroom than human? What is human?
I don't know if you just heard that, but it just announced that I was streaming Fortnite. I guess I'm streaming Fortnite. It's Fortnite time, I guess, eh? But yeah, man. Yeah, there's so much to the streaming. Crazy. It's you got to make sure everything lines up from time to time. Things kind of just get all over the place. And it is what it is. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're in for a delight. Hello there.
Hey, you're awake?
Oh yeah, you're live on the interwebs, and
I
we're.
don't want to be live with you. Well,
Oh, you're already here.
all right. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Just hanging out. We're gonna introduce you right now. So the man on the phone right now, he's an interesting human. Who I'm his archivist, right?
You are.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm his archivist. It's multiple names, but not multiple personalities, which is pretty crazy. Do you have multiple personalities?
I do not.
No,
I did once. I did once enter a psychogenic fugue state, but I've since come out of it.
What took you into that?
That was just a joke when I was using the other name at work. My friend, who's a psychiatrist, said that I was entering a psychogenic fugue state, so I just embraced that.
What is that? That was a psychogenic fugue state. What is that?
That just means you have a traumatic experience and you leap into a different personality for a while.
When you change your name, do you feel that you went into a different personality?
Absolutely not.
So he might have just kind of portrayed you as being a different personality due to the name change. So for him, he was.
I had this friend in college who lived with me through my name change. And he once said to me, he said, you know what, I know David Lugopolsky really well. And that guy's really on the ball. He's got a really good head on his shoulder. He goes, but this Trevor Sky, that guy's got his head up his ass.
You probably did. I feel like you probably did. Like, because immediately you just had such a easy, quick name. Like you went from like having to tell people how to spell it to like now like your conversations formulated totally different. Like it might have been even crazy because when you spelled out your name, so like when I spell out my name, I always hit because it's FU, right? It's FUHR. So I always go FUHR MAN. And then I hit him with an FU and I ask him how to make him feel. And so I'm like, yeah, it's pretty aggressive. So immediately when you have to stop spelling your name, did that change your conversations, do you feel?
Well, people still found a way to misspell it. I mean, I spelled Trevor Sky, SKY, and people would spell it SKYE, or they'd misspell Trevor, they'd put Travis, or they'd put TREVER instead of TREVOR,
That's crazy. I feel like I'm like one of the worst spellers in the world, and I would have got both those names right. I don't think I would have ever attempted an E after a Y.
I mean, when I first started using it, I was working, and I was talking to the building manager or whatever at Warner Brothers, and she goes, "Oh, your last name is Sky? Because are you related to Bob Sky? On the 12th floor?" I'm like, "Not unless he's Bob Lugopolsky."
Did you change it through your W-2s and all that stuff? Like if that was on? No. Okay.
No, I never. It was always just an alias I used at work, and but I did talk to a lawyer at one point after I used the name for like a decade. And he said, even though it wasn't my legal name, since I had, used it at work and signed documents with it, it was a legal entity,
Yeah, you think you just get to keep it.
Yeah, so there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, what happened was, okay, I'll tell you quickly. I was Trevor Sky long before any of my siblings had children, but my siblings never embraced the name change, and they still referred to me as Dave. So when they had kids, they introduced me as Uncle Dave. But I was Trevor long before that. Right. So they always knew me as Uncle Dave. And then, some people that I met in California never know me as Trevor, And then some people like my friend Ricardo, who met me as Dave, made the adjustment. He calls me Trevor till this day. Right. And then, of course, when I moved back to Michigan to take care of my mom, who was sick, I was around people that knew me when I was young. So they started calling me Dave again. So I just embraced that again.
So you were all over.
I'm all over.
If you were to start right now, would you be Trevor if you took a job right now?
I'd have to I'd have to fill out the paperwork as David, but then I could ask him to call me Trevor, sure.
So like, because they're creating a company email for you, right? So you get to pick that company email. You're going with Trevor Sky on the email.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's what my email is now, and it's not even company email.
Yeah.
Right?
So we didn't really address to you everything about the name change right now. So Dave became Trevor, right? Sometime in this world while in California. We just kind of brought you into the story about a man with two names. What happened was, and we'll get him one day to fully explain it, but he's in the strip club, right? He's with his buddies, and the stripper comes over and says, what's all your names? And Dave introduces himself. Doesn't really get anything from the stripper. She doesn't really like address him a whole lot. But his buddy, his name was Trevor, and he goes, "Trevor," and she goes, "Oh, Trevor," and he always remembered that. And I don't know. I'm over here speaking for another human. I don't know if that story was actually in California, if that was before, or what part of his life that originally happened, but that memory hit him when he was in California and he was having a hard time with his name. Nobody could spell it. And he's like, I'm going to make this name easier. Trevor, he got action. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to be Trevor. And then Sky came from, I'm going to assume Skywalker, Luke. But we'll find out the whole story. We'll get Dave back on to tell his whole story. Until then, keep watching and enjoy. And when you get a second, make sure you hit that subscribe. Stay to the very end. It's a good time. You were only in California for a year, and then you end up at Warner Brothers. How'd you get the shooting script for Star Wars?
Don't know. Don't remember how.
Really?
I mean, we had screenings, right? We had screenings at Warner, and then my friend Mark Alberici, who just passed away,
Sorry.
he went to work at a talent agency in the Sunset, in the 9000 Sunset building, and he worked in the mailroom, and he would steal passes. The mailroom guys would take the passes of premieres and movie screenings that were sent to the agents that the agents didn't want to go to, and so we would go to those. So I might have gotten at one of those.
They just have them, or you think you kind of like chummed up with somebody who had it in their possession and
don't remember.
Yeah.
I used to have a whole bunch of scripts, which I don't have anymore. I guess they're probably one of those boxes. Yeah. So.
Because you were never a drinker, right?
Never, no.
Never. So you were always in a clear state of mind when you were at these gatherings and everything.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's crazy. You had you recently had COVID though, right?
Had COVID? No, never.
Oh, you didn't? You haven't had COVID?
No. I had a hospitalization a couple months ago, but that was kind of a pneumonia.
Okay. So no, we gotta wait till you have COVID till I can ask you the question.
What's the question?
Well, this goes into like I guess actually the human mind and kind of any sickness, because it could just be something that we all experience on a day-to-day life, but we're linking it and putting it into COVID, placing blame on COVID. Do you ever have a feeling of like a cloudiness, it's almost like the gas, like there's a gas leak and you're ingesting gas and you kind of feel lightheaded, like kind of a little bit out of focus and a little mentally confused?
I would say never, except
Never.
That's how I felt the day I went to the hospital with my pneumonia.
Really?
Yeah. But other than that, never in all these years.
Never. So and you were pretty sick at that point. Your body was like shutting down, your kidneys and stuff, or your lungs were kind of like, your lungs are shutting down, and like, man. So yeah, that's interesting then, because then your body, if something it's probably not supposed to do that. So we got to remediate or remediate or mediate or whatever it is, and figure that out. Yeah, because I've talked to a few people who get that. I've lately been feeling like that. Yeah. So it's probably just like a something not right within my body, and take better care of myself and figure it out. Yeah. I'll work on that. 'Cause, I asked a guy who recently had COVID. He was telling me that he goes, I feel fine, except because lately I've been kind of feeling weird, like almost like the first day I thought I had a gas leak, and then he goes, then I went back to work, and he goes, I jackknifed my truck. It's a landscaper. He goes, dude, I haven't done that since I was like 17. He goes, I was confused backing it up. I didn't know which way to go.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I asked a guy who was I seen today, he had COVID 3 times now, and I asked him if he ever experienced it. He goes, dude, all the time. He goes it's been crazy. And I'm like, yeah. So I was trying to think if it was something because COVID, it's weird, right? What is it? It's crazy. And the thing I recently learned, our human bodies are closer to mushrooms than any other organism or species. So we closer mimic a mushroom than any other thing that walks this earth or that is on this earth.
What about chimpanzees?
We're closer. We're close. The chimpanzees turned into humans by eating mushrooms, and it spiked other things in their mind. No, it's like the humans. We're hold on. We're what percentage? Hold on. What percentage?
Maybe you're close to a mushroom, Dave. Anyway.
That's all we are. What is this shit? We're only 1 to 3% bacteria. That's some shit. Hold on. I just debunked myself here. But I was curious if maybe that's it's like there's a bad bacteria going within all these people right now. It's like what is it, right? Like is it a virus? Is it a disease? You know, what is it? It's is it just a play on a cold and our anxieties based upon, you know, constant media and constant people saying how bad it is, and it's crazy. What is it? It's a tough world, Dave, Trevor.
Right.
Man.
Yeah, no, I agree.
How close?
Yeah, no, I have a friend. His name is Steve. He's an older gentleman. I used to work with him at Warner Brothers. And when the pandemic happened, he self-isolated. He lives alone, and he just didn't go out. You know, he wouldn't have people over to his house. And finally, eventually, he started to go grocery shopping again. But he still is. It's 2 years later, and he's still basically isolated. He won't meet me for lunch. He won't. We talk on the phone a couple times a week, but he's basically still in isolation.
Really?
Yeah, and he watches the news or whatever, and he gets upset about what's going on in the world. You know, he feels like the world is falling apart. You know.
Yeah. But do you ever remind him that the world's been crazy for a long time? It's just a different sort of crazy.
Yep.
Like it's nuts. I had it pulled up. Mushrooms. The humans are nearly 50% share nearly 50% of their DNA with fungi.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's not a mushroom. That's with a guy who's fun. A fun
yeah,
guy.
right. Right. Gosh. Yeah, man. Oh my gosh. So, I'm just trying to imagine how you've acquired all this stuff. So you don't even know how you've acquired the stuff. You just acquired it. It's funny because I was thinking earlier today about my first experience with mushrooms. I was in this Reddit thing. I know you don't really play with all the social media things and everything, but I still think you should become the world's most provocative, not provocative. I need to be like Michael Pollan. He's so good with words. Like, yeah, the leading authority of Twitter trolling. Like, I still do believe that you should use all your writing skills and everything to jump on there. And I just signed up for a Reddit forum today. Everybody's been telling me Reddit's cool because Twitter you can't troll that much because you're only allowed so many characters. So somebody like you, who's like a walking glossary, right? You could probably actually really enjoy those characters because you'd probably, I mean, I've seen your notebooks and everything. You'd probably have it planned out on like keywords and everything that you want to use, like descriptive things when you're going through, and you'd probably be able to formulate that. Like, it's not even at that point. It's not a glossary. It's would be like a amazing formulation of a sentence. Would that be considered?
Maybe syntax.
A syntax. See,
syntax is the structure of the sentence. Yeah.
The structure of a sentence. Yeah, your sentences are probably pretty sweet. Yeah. Yeah. Reddit now you could write like a whole lot of stuff. you could. I don't believe there to be a character limit, and I just started playing with there today, and I was trying to build into those communities to link into the internet of whatever in this world I'm trying to create. So
Right.
I was on there and somebody posted about remembering their mushroom trips. And I was
Right.
just thinking the other day, because somebody's I'm doing this podcast thing, and I have stories of a trip. It's basically I'm looking for people who want to share an experience that they had, whether it was psychedelic or just spiritual, mental self-awareness that kind of changed the trajectory of their life. So
Right.
I think like mushrooms changed me and so many of the people that I surround myself with, and I couldn't think of my first experience. I asked Jamie because we had a really big party. It was a mushroom tea. It was a tea party. We had a bunch of people over, and everybody was drinking mushroom tea. And at that point, it was a lot of people's first experiences, which was absolutely amazing to be able to see, so many people experience it for the first time, and just moments of clarity. It was amazing, and that's what I remember being my first experience. But Jamie told me that wasn't my first experience, and I ate them multiple times before that, and I couldn't remember. But that it was just such an amazing, and since then I've remembered every experience, every one. But yeah, I can't remember my first ones at all, which is kind of crazy.
Not to change the subject too much, but tell me about the camping. You took the RV.
Yep. It was cold. It was windy.
I was gonna say, was it cold? That was my next question. Was it cold out?
Yo, it
Where'd
was
you
so
guys go?
cold. It was 20 to 30 mile per hour winds the whole time.
Did the other ones go? Did the haulers go?
Yep. We actually had a site 2 sites away from them.
And forgive me, the haulers have a little baby.
Oh yeah, yep.
What's that baby's name?
Jackson. He's pretty cool.
Jackson, huh?
He really don't do a whole lot of anything yet. Like neither one, him and Olive, they don't do a whole lot of shit. Olive does more. Oh yeah.
They
Oh
will
yeah.
eventually.
Oh yeah, they will. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they're cool. What are you gonna watch on YouTube? What are you missing? So you probably missed yesterday's episode of La Brea.
I don't watch La Brea. I see everything that Jamie watches because I don't have my own whatever you call it account there. But she watches like my 1,000-pound life or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the kind of stuff she watches. I was using it. Well, I watched a bunch of movies. I watched the new Elvis movie on there.
That was a good movie. Did you know his life was like that?
Yeah, I didn't want to watch it at first because I know way too much about Elvis, because I'm a big Elvis fan.
Really?
But I just went ahead and watched it, and I was surprised that they spent so much time with the older fat Elvis. They kind of rushed through the young Elvis and spent like an hour on the old fat Elvis. Anyway.
Yeah, I felt like I got to learn the young Elvis for a long time. But I think honestly the movie was just so great. The time, like a half an hour, felt like it just, you learned so much. I think so. That's
It was just the Tom Hanks thing was just such an odd choice, right? With the fat suit and the Dutch accent and all that. It was just weird.
there was a lot of him.
I mean, he was sort of playing it cartoony,
Yeah, it wasn't like that in real life, huh?
I don't know. I heard him. Tom Parker was always in the shadows. We never saw him much. He was always behind the scenes, so I never knew what he really looked like. Right?
Really?
But I guess they think that that between Tom Hanks and the director, whose name is Baz Luhrmann, I guess they were trying to be authentic because he really was a fake colonel. He was a Dutch guy.
Yeah. Immediately after that movie, I was like, I need to steal Elvis's wardrobe. So I started looking up Elvis, not like his performing suits, right? Like he had some really nice jackets and stuff, sports jackets and things.
In the late 80s, David Lynch, who was a famous film director, who I don't know if you remember, I used to work with him. But anyway, he made a movie called Wild at Heart. It starred Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern, right?
Okay.
And Nicolas Cage's character in the movie, his name is Sailor Ripley. He's supposed to be like a bad boy, right?
Sounds like that's a good name, Sailor Ripley.
Yeah, and Sailor Ripley is devoted to Elvis, but they never say that. He just kind of says, don't fuck with me, gentlemen, or whatever. He kind of just talks that way, and he kind of just has a swagger like Elvis, but he never says, "Oh, I'm devoted to Elvis" or whatever. You just have to figure it out.
What do you mean devoted?
The character in the movie is an Elvis fan, and he lives his life and talks and dresses like Elvis, but like a young Elvis. But they don't tell you in the movie. If you don't know, you just don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
fun. That's kind of
Yeah.
fun. Do you have to do royalties when you mimic a character?
That's a good question. I don't know about mimic. I mean, sometimes mimic falls under First Amendment, freedom of speech.
Yeah, you're right.
But
You're right.
but if you actually use a copyright or a trademark, then you have to pay.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I grew up loving Elvis, all this stuff, and it's curious, figuring or like watching all these movies now. Like right, like we had Ray, we had
Yep.
we had a lot. We had a lot.
Walk the line. Yeah.
That was such a good movie. That was a great movie. And then didn't we have those 5 girls too, the Destiny's 5 or something? Or
They did. If we did, I never saw it. Destiny's Child.
yeah, Destiny. Yeah, wasn't there something with them? I feel like there's some. I don't know, but it's like how they take so long to make Elvis. Like, was his story that like secretive?
No,
like,
Dave, there's been a dozen Elvis movies.
yeah, I know that, but well,
No. Kurt Russell played Elvis in a movie, like in the 70s.
okay, yeah, but we're
There's
talking
a lot of
70s. Like in the 2000s, they've remade everything, right? They've remade every Marvel movie. They've remade everything. How come they were doing a hit? Like, I gotta imagine all those music movies were making a killing.
Well, they just didn't think there was a market for new Elvis movies, but Baz Luhrmann thought there was.
Yeah, which is crazy because they had so many Elvis movies back in the day. And Elvis was actually a movie star, like, right? Like, he was the number one all selling solo artist of all time, selling solo artist of all time. Like,
Oh yeah, sure.
yeah, you don't think like they would want a new movie? That's crazy. People are kicking themselves. like, damn, should have made the damn Elvis
I
movie.
knew. He's passed away now, but there was a songwriter. I worked with songwriters when I was at Warner Brothers, and there was a guy
Maybe
named
not.
Ben Wiseman whose
Maybe
claim
not.
to fame was Elvis recorded more songs written by Ben Wiseman than by any other songwriter. Right?
Did he write any of his own songs?
No, Elvis was a singer. He wasn't a songwriter.
No shit. So none of. Oh, that's interesting. So
Well,
with,
see, that's a generational thing, Dave. The idea of the singer-songwriter didn't come into the late 60s. The Beatles were singer-songwriters, and then you had like James Taylor and Carole King. That was a concept that didn't exist in the 40s and 50s.
so like Johnny Cash, when he sung "I've Been Everywhere," man, was he like Elvis, and he's been nowhere.
Well, I don't think he wrote that.
So yeah, but he sung that song, and he's like, I've been everywhere, man.
That means he's been everywhere performing, right?
Yeah, okay, and he never
But,
shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Then did he?
No, that he really did.
Okay.
Frank Sinatra never wrote a song.
So there's no difference than watching these guys then perform than a cover band, because in essence they're a cover band. They're performing a song that was performed by somebody else, but they're performing a song that was written by somebody else, and that's all Frank Sinatra was and Elvis was. And
Yeah, but you're sort of splitting hairs.
yeah, I know I know they make it their own, but then you got a lot of people that go out, like when somebody goes out on America's Got Talent and they make the song their own too. It's like the same thing. So like a cover band, do they make the songs their own? Because that I enjoy the essence of music, right? Like for a long time I never listened to music. The only music I knew was Miley Cyrus, Tupac, Biggie, a little bit of Taylor.
You love that song, "Party in the USA."
Yeah. Oh, it's easy. She tells you what to do. You put your hands up, you nod your head like, yeah, the butterflies fly away, and it's Party in the USA. It's so easy. Tummy is turning, you're homesick. Stilettos, like, oh, yeah, but so.
I'm just trying to convey to you that prior to like the Beatles and prior to Carole King,
Nobody wrote
that
their own
was
shit.
that was just not the paradigm. That just wasn't the way it was. There were guys who were songwriters, and they sold songs to the artist. They sold them to the record companies, and then the artist recorded them. That's
So
just
do
the way it
people
was.
care, like when because like when Elvis in the movie, when he took that lady's song that she was singing and sung that, so she really didn't care because that's what the world was. Did she make that song? Was that her song, or did somebody write that song originally? Was that like
You're talking about Hound Dog.
yeah, yep, that's what yeah, Hound Dog.
Funny you say that. Hound Dog was written by two of the greatest pop songwriters of all time, Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller. But they got a lot of money by Elvis recording it, but they didn't write it for Elvis. They wrote it for Big Mama Thornton, who's the lady you're talking about in the movie, right?
No shit.
Yep, and I knew them. Okay, they didn't. When I was at Warner Brothers, Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller had offices in the same building, but they had their own music publishing company. They were their own entity. They're very, very wealthy. They had many, many songs that made a lot of money. And in an interview with them, they say they wrote this blues song, for Big Mama Thornton, and Elvis took it and recorded it. And then and Jerry said to Mike, "See, this young kid recorded our song." And, what do you know? That kind of thing.
Does he have to pay them?
Of course.
Okay.
They get royalties, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's So yeah, because that's one of I'll sit there and I'll really be enjoying the music and I'm loving it. I'm loving everything I'm hearing, and then like when I go to a cover band and then I realize I'm like, man, this, because the music starts speaking to you and you start kind of entering the world of the music, and you're feeling it's creating feelings with inside of you and stuff, and you're going with it, and then it's like then you sit and you realize like the band that you're listening to, none of these were theirs, but it's funny because way back in the day, like, because I think like what was going on in their lives at this time when they did this, like, is it sorrow?
Well,
like if it's a sad, what's
the
that?
next Elvis anecdote I'm going to tell you won't resonate too much because you probably don't know the song, but early rock and roll songs are all about sex. The term rock and roll, was a race word, used by black people meaning sex, right? I'm going to meet up with them. We're going to rock and roll. So it's like, good golly, Miss Molly, it sure loves the ball. Right? It's about sex. Right?
Yeah.
When you're rocking in and rolling, can't hear your mama call. It's about sex. Right? It's all about sex. Well, then it came to mean the music. Anyway, Elvis, like you said, he took Hound Dog. There was a guy named Smiley Lewis who had we'll call it a blues song called One Night of Sin, right? That's the name of the song.
Absolutely.
And Elvis recorded and had a huge hit with it, but it was too dirty the way it was, so they changed the lyrics for him. So Elvis's song goes, "One night with you is what I'm now praying for," right? That's Elvis's song, right?
Okay.
So the idea is I'm praying to have one night with you, my beloved girlfriend, or whatever. That's the song. Well, Smiley Lewis, the original, was "One night of sin is what I'm now paying for," right? He's not praying for it. He's paying for having a bad night of sin. He's paying for it somehow. Either got a venereal disease or whatever. He's regretting it, something. But Elvis has the same tune, and it's the same song, but the entire theme has been cleaned up. It means something completely different.
You get all the knowledge. And then so those guys, the one before Smiley, they were Warner Brothers license.
Lieber stole it?
Yeah.
No, they had their own company.
Oh, but Warner Brothers would every once in a while, because when you're scoring, you're grabbing stuff from. So there's people also that probably like, do they ever write any songs for movies, right? So you're producing a Warner Brothers movie and you're like, hey, we want to use this song. Nobody's sung it.
That's why, going all the way back to Ben Weisman, who I said was the guy that I knew who wrote more songs for Elvis than anybody else.
Yeah.
He didn't write any of Elvis's pop hits, right? That would be like Lieber and Stoller wrote Hound Dog.
Okay.
Otis Blackwell wrote All Shook Up, he was a singer. But Ben Weisman wrote for the movies. So he wrote a song called like Follow That Dream, Wherever That Dream May Lead You. Elvis sings it in a movie. And Ben Weisman wrote Do the Clam. So they're not considered famous Elvis songs, but they're in the Elvis movies. That's why he has that claim to fame. He wrote songs for Elvis in the movies.
Okay. So is there just a big giant database of songs? Like, so if I was like, man, I really want a song like, so all these, because I'm sure if you're sitting around and you're amazing at writing songs, you're not always like writing them for one specific person. I mean, you definitely are if they contract you to write them a song, or you probably you write a song and you're like, oh my god, I would love to hear this song sung by this person, but
Right.
you just kind of have it. Is there like, could you sit here and like, hey, I want to look through a database of songs and see if I could find one that resonates with me, and then you're like,
Well,
hey, I
Paul,
want to sing
you
your
can do that.
song?
You can do that now, but we didn't have computers, in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s.
So if I were to do that now, so could anybody go through and say your song, or do you have to have a certain license to be able to go through? Because in my mind, like if I was reading a bunch of songs, right? If I read through 10 different songs, those songs, like I said, are resonating with you. Like you're reading them, like you're feeling them. Because if you're going to perform them, you need to have them like part of you, right? So you're reading them, and now you're living them because it's almost like in a shared emotion. And now
Right.
this is part of you. So you just went through 10 songs, and now you're sitting here and you're just kind of humming along to yourself. And now all of a sudden you're singing about this experience because you just had this experience with all these things. It's now part of you, and you're linking all the songs together. What is that now? I just made a song with all thoughts and stuff of somebody else's
Well,
creation, but it's a
now
mimic.
now you're getting into like when the hip hop started, they did what they called sampling, where they take a line from a song, and then the question is, if you sample, do you have to pay the copyright?
Yeah, because if I gotta imagine, there would have to be some kind of list of people that like there would be some kind of membership thing, so hey, this person viewed the song, so they can go back
Yeah,
because everything's
that's
tracked on the computer.
yeah, that's tracked by two organizations. One is called BMI, the other one is called ASCAP. It's like the Association of Recording Composers, and they keep track of that. ASCAP, it's called.
Oh, that's who you need. That's the license you need to perform karaoke.
I'll let you go in a second, but I'll tell you a quick anecdote about the song "Happy Birthday to You." Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now this may have changed in the last 20 years or whatever, but when I was working at Warner Brothers Music owned that song, owned the rights to "Happy Birthday to You." Was written in like 1890 by two old ladies named Mildred and Patty Hill, two sisters.
Okay.
Which is, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you." So if that song was used in a movie, the filmmakers had to pay for the rights to use that song. That's why you will notice in some movies they will bring out a birthday cake and the characters will sing "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow" because that song is older, therefore it's in the public domain.
There's not a fair use act for that, like because a fair use, like if a birthday cake comes out, a tradition would be to sing a happy birthday to you, and it's almost, I mean, at that point, it's not spiked because you want to steal a song and use a song. It's what's common, it's what's associated with the birthday cake. So like through association, you couldn't hit a fair use.
Doesn't matter. Warner Brothers Music is trying to make money off their song. They're gonna charge you.
That's
I'm
crazy.
telling you, you'll see movies from the 80s, maybe 90s. I don't know if this has changed. I don't know if the song has become so old now it's in the public domain. I don't know. I haven't researched it. But you'll see movies in those days where they bring out a birthday cake and they sing "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow," which just seems weird. Right?
Yeah. Huh.
So,
So like some restaurants don't sing happy birthday, they're scared.
that I don't know. I think that's just a convention because they'll make up their own songs and things, right?
Okay. Have you ever did any sort of plagiarizing? So you had all through school, you went through all this college, all this stuff. Wrote. Have you ever plagiarized? Have you ever took somebody? Well, I mean, you could always take somebody else's thoughts and use them as your own because you're learning from them and stuff. But
Never.
Okay, no, you enjoyed writing all your papers, huh?
Joe Biden has, right?
Has he?
Oh yeah, way back when he was a young man in his 40s. This is like 30 years ago. He got caught plagiarizing, and that's why I never liked him because I thought he was a plagiarist. And then now they don't talk about that anymore.
In his 40s?
Way back, like maybe in the 80s.
What did he plagiarize in the 40s? Like, not in the 40s, when he was in his 40s.
When he gave a speech, and and it was recorded or whatever, and then someone said, "Hey, that's my speech,"
Oh no shit.
And it was stolen. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Do you ever go on any of that the theories that he's A reptilian?
Well, he's something, but
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a reptilian. You know.
Yeah. Huh. Do you
Bill Maher likes to talk about how the young people, the millennials, are now loving Biden. Right?
are they?
That's
Well,
what he says.
It's probably. I mean, he's relatable, right? He makes no sense. Millennials make no sense, right? Like he does. He doesn't know. Like if you, I mean, he doesn't even know who he's smelling half the time. He's like, I don't even understand.
About a month ago, a filmmaker named John Waters. I hate to drop these names now. You don't know who these people are, but John Waters is an old man now. He was famous in the 70s and 80s for making what were considered tasteless, disgusting movies. Right? You mean a movie called Pink Flamingos, which is about the most disgusting people on earth. Right?
Okay. Who's the
Alright,
most
so-
disgusting people on earth? Or is
It was
that-
the couple in the movie. It was the woman was played by a big fat cross dresser named Divine. That's John Waters' partner in film. Right? Anyway, so John Waters is well known to my generation because he made all these movies. So now he's an old man, and he was writing a book, and he was pushing it, and he was on Bill Maher. Well, Bill Maher's show on HBO is very liberal, right? The audience is all filled with left wing liberals, and John Waters is being interviewed, and John Waters goes, "I can't help it. I just love Joe Biden." Well, the audience wasn't expecting that, so they break into applause because they're all Democrats and liberals. They love Joe Biden. And then John Waters keeps talking. He goes, "So what if he's senile?"
yeah, it's totally fine.
And then
Yeah.
he goes, maybe he'll get confused and he'll give us all $100,000 stimulus checks.
Yeah.
So he got an applause by saying he loved Joe Biden, and then he went on to rip on him that he's senile. It was kind of funny.
Gosh.
So
Yes.
what if he's senile?
No. Do you have you been following? Do you follow like just the news in general, like current events other than like entertainment and movies, like the war and all that weird shit?
Maybe like on a weekly basis. I watch two programs. I watch Bill Maher every Friday night.
Okay.
He's on.
And he kind of
And I
gives
watch-
you the update of the current world
And I
from
watch
week to
Meet the
week.
Press with Chuck Don on Sunday mornings.
Okay, is that what they both kind of do? They give you like
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't watch the nightly news or anything. I haven't done that for 20 or 30 years.
so both those things that you watch, are they only weekly? They're not daily or?
Weekly, right?
Oh, that's cool. The weekly news would probably be a nice thing to watch because they're just kind of giving you a little bit of updates throughout the world.
Well,
Okay.
I listen to the radio sometimes, talk radio, so I get some politics there. But it's funny because you don't see people's faces. You know, you don't see interviews. You just hear the voices or hear them being talked about. You know.
Okay. Gosh, I need to get back into. I will tell you that. Get back into that world where you're rubbing elbows with all those people. I said, where you should just go and find out where they live and go knock on their doors.
Say, how's it hanging?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's
Okay.
going on, Charlie Sheen?
Yeah. Were you a Beavis and Butthead guy?
No, once again, I mean, I remember it. I remember it being a big hit, and people I knew loved it. But I was already an adult, so it didn't appeal to me too much.
Well, what about Jay Leno?
Well, no, I actually knew Jay. I met Jay Leno a few times before he was the host of the Tonight Show. I thought he was a really nice guy, but and I saw him do stand up before he was a host of the Tonight Show, and I thought he was a really great comedian. And then he hosted the Tonight Show. I didn't think he was that good of a talk show host.
Oh, so you didn't watch it?
No, I've seen it, but you know.
Oh,
watch it
man.
regularly.
So, oh gosh, I hope one
I mean,
day
my
Jay Leno
generation
sees
loves
this.
My generation loves David Letterman. David Letterman's our guy, right?
Yeah, I hope he sees this. I hope he finds this one day and it's like, man, Trevor Scott didn't like. I was going that route because Beavis and Butthead once appeared on his show, and that ever since I saw that episode, it kind of has always made me have like a special place in my heart for mixed reality, and that was the first. It was like the first of its ever kind. Jay Leno literally interviewed Beavis and Butthead. They sat on the couch directly next to him.
Wow, neat.
Yeah, it was. Oh, so you didn't see that? No. No.
He said butthole.
We have a question for you here. This is probably, I'd like to know this as well. Your biggest life accomplishment, or biggest life
Wait,
contribution.
who's asking me this?
The one of our I'd love to say, 600 viewer. It's a human that exists throughout this earth that is here spending their God-given time on this earth, and they're actually they're. It's not even God-given, right? It's a God-given when you're born, right? When you first exist, but after that, it's up to you to exist, right? I mean, you could have a place of God and understanding of God, but it's up to you internally to continue to exist.
All right,
So
so
they're
I
in
like
here.
that.
What's that?
Whenever he has people with the greatest accomplishment, they always say they're children, and I don't have any children, so I can't say that. But just off the top of my head, many years ago, 25 years ago, or more than that, I went to Vegas and I saw Frank Sinatra perform on his birthday. And afterwards, we had a group picture taken and we signed it, and I wrote, "Dear Dave, you can die happy now. Love, Dave." So maybe that was my greatest accomplishment. I saw Frank Sinatra.
You, but at that time, did you know he wasn't singing his own music?
Of course,
No shit.
Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra actually pays tribute to the songwriters. He will
Does
say,
he?
"Here's a song by Sammy Cahn and Jimmy Van Heusen." He'll actually say that before he sings the song. He
Really?
gives them credit. Yeah.
That's cool. So it's Frank Sinatra. See, did you meet him after?
I got the tickets from Sammy Cahn, who's the songwriter that writes a bunch of Frank Sinatra songs. I knew him from Warner Brothers, so he got me these tickets. So I was seated in the center of the room. On my left, at the table to my left was Frank Sinatra's wife, Barbara Sinatra. At the table to my right was Paul Anka, who's a singer-songwriter who wrote the song "My Way" for Frank Sinatra. So during the show, the spotlight went on his wife. He goes, "I'd like to point out my wife, Barbara. I love you, baby." And then later he said, when he sang "My Way," he said, "Here's the guy that wrote the song, Paul Anka." So my table kept getting a spotlight right next to it, but I didn't really meet him.
Oh, that's cool. I would have said, now I'm going to sing the song my way, but actually it's their way. That's crazy. Do they ever come out and like dance with them? Like, you ever have the songwriters as like the backup dancers?
No.
No, nobody's ever brings them out. That'd be fun. It's just great. Has there ever been a movie about a songwriter, like a biography about the life of the songwriter? So like you're saying like
Sure.
yeah, oh yeah.
Well,
A movie
sure.
or
I mean,
biography?
there's songs about fiction. There's movies about fictional songwriters, like Bye Bye Birdie or whatever. But there's movies about real songwriters too. Lots of documentaries. I mean, I've watched a whole bunch of them I guess on Netflix. Right?
Really?
Even beyond songwriters, there's a documentary on Netflix about Clive Davis, who's a
He's
legendary.
Satan. They
Pardon?
say he's Satan. They say Clive Davis is Satan and he drinks baby's blood and stuff.
He probably does. He's an old man. He's still alive. Man.
Yeah. Yeah, they showed like videos or pictures of him and like shit like that because he's who everybody has like sold their soul to, and all that stuff. Like they say, you join with Clive Davis and then bam, you're just going, you're
Yeah.
going to the top.
He made a lot of people famous. He made Janis Joplin famous and Santana. Lots
Aren't
of
they?
people.
Are they all dead?
Janis is dead.
Yeah.
Carlos Santana's alive, I think.
Oh, yeah, still with him?
No, I don't think so.
No. Did you watch Dahmer yet?
And there's a bunch of Dahmer things on there.
Yeah.
I kind of lived through the Dahmer story, and I paid a lot of attention to it when it was happening, so I don't really have any interest in reliving it,
Okay.
But
So-
I guess I'll probably watch it eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Dahmer didn't eat
I mean,
it.
there was another show. It might have been on Netflix called Mind Hunter, which is about the behavioral analysis unit of the FBI, which is the same thing the show Criminal Minds is about, right?
Okay.
But Mindhunter is based on a book, so it's way more like in depth. And in order to develop the rules of how to profile serial killers, the characters in the movie go visit with famous serial killers. They visit with Charles Manson, and they visit with a guy named what was that guy's name? Ed Kemper. And anyways, I liked it. It's a good show.
Mindhunters?
Mindhunter singular. Yeah.
Mindhunter. That's cool. Yeah, I'd like to go sit down with a serial killer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a blast. Just get into their mind. That that Dahmer, it was good. They did a good job. When you watch it, you'll see there's some things in there that like don't ever come back up in the show, which is kind of weird. Things that you would assume would be like a big part, and then they're just gone. But kind of the timeline flies around. It's slow but yet fast at the same time. It was good. It was good. They did a good job. It got me the other day. I watched it a little late, fell asleep watching it, and like I don't even know. I ended up going up to bed, but I woke up 2 days ago. Have you ever had so you haven't had where you're like kind of dizzy and lightheaded and like weird, confused?
No.
You ever had like the sleep paralysis? Like you wake up and you're like screaming and you like trying to scream, or maybe you're not trying to scream. Maybe you're just trying to like get up, reach up for something, but you can't get up.
Nope.
Never. Seriously. No shit.
Never.
Really?
Never.
Man. Gosh, there's something up with my body. Maybe I'm about to eat some people or something. Oh man, it's crazy.
Maybe you're intaking too much sugar.
Yeah. I just had the other day. It's 2 days ago. I was trying to reach up. I was trying to like reach up and scream for help. I remember so vividly, and I couldn't move. I could only get my left arm up. I couldn't move anything of my right body. I was getting my like right arm up and shoulder up a little bit. Or no, that's my left arm. My left arm and shoulder
sounds
up.
like a stroke, but anyway.
Yeah, it was crazy. Eyes were open, and I was like, it was messed up. Yeah. So no, yeah, it might be. It's a mental. Brain is. I don't even know what's going on there. It's crazy. It's all the Adderall the doctors got me taking.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's crazy. He has me on so much Adderall, and I keep I've never liked it in school. My parents gave me the option when I got into high school to take it or not, and I stopped taking it, and I never didn't like it. You know, everybody's abusing it and shit. And no, I've been eating mushrooms, microdosing mushrooms for so long. My doctor, he prescribed me Adderall like last year and a half ago, or 2 years ago, and when I was in there a few months back, he goes, Dave. He knew I eat mushrooms. We've talked about it. He told me not to, and he don't know. Oh, it was funny. But I go in there and he's like, Dave, how do people talk to you? How do they have a conversation with you? What do people say when they talk to you? I go, oh, I get told I'm a lot quite frequently. He goes, Dave, I can't even understand you. He goes, you have the worst ADD draw or ADD ramble I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, oh man. He goes, Dave, you need to be on Adderall. And he pulls down. It was so funny. He scoots down in his chair, pulls down his mask, lifts up his butt and farts. Like, I shit you not. This all happened at once. He scoots down. It's so ridiculous. And he goes, Dave, I want to have a chat with you. He goes, I'm going to be your psychiatrist here for a second. And he goes, do you know the history of stimulants? I go, no. He goes, okay. He goes, so back in Germany, he said that they used to give stimulants to people when they would put them under for surgery, and they would go under and they would give them stimulants to wake them up, right? Or to control their breathing, because otherwise like people were like not breathing and different stuff. So they gave them that. And he said what they were finding out is people were waking up and they were becoming more and more alert. And he's like, dude, this is crazy. Why are there people are becoming more alert? So Germany got into that, and Germany started a program called kindergarten. And kindergarten is they put young kids. They did 2 classes. One they put on all stimulants, and the other one not. And they found that the ones on stimulants, on the Adderall, Replica, Ritalin, whatever it was at the time, were being more like communicative. They were following directions and orders, and they were staying on task longer than another class. So he said, fast forward into the 60s, he goes, and when all you free your mind people, he goes, it was the first time like the American public went against the government, and he goes, everybody was petitioning everything, and he goes, what it really was war on psychology. And he goes, oh, he goes, everybody wanted to free their minds, so they started taking all these psychoactive drugs, and then he told the history of LSD, how it was developed in a lab, and all this shit, and then he goes that everybody's developing or trying to own their mind, and he goes, that war on psychology put psychology back 60 years, and he goes, moving forward. He goes, your brain is no different than that of a stroke victim. He goes, you have a section of your brain that doesn't develop. He said in a stroke, and use the stimulants to send blood and send growth into that section. So you're stimulating it and working it. And he said, where unfortunately stroke victims can't do that. He goes, you're living like a stroke victim for no reason. And, so I said, okay, I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to fully listen to what he has to say for a while. And I'm going to take this Adderall. And so he gave me Adderall. Told me to take it. He had Jamie come in the next appointment. He goes, I want the next appointment you to bring your wife in. He goes, because I want to talk to her. And he asked Jamie just a shit ton of questions about like my performance at home, my performance as a husband, my ability to clean the house. It was hilarious. It was a lot of fun. And then he upped my dose. Every time I go to the guy, he just keeps upping my dose. Like I'm on Adderall 3 times a day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm on what am I on now? 25, 15. It's just like, dude, man, you're crazy. And every time I go there, he just keeps upping it. I'm just like, why? I don't understand why you keep upping my prescription.
But do you feel that it's helping?
No, I don't know. I honestly, I feel that the mushrooms were absolutely way better. So my microdosing was way incredibly better, because it's crazy. He didn't even talk like I mean, like about stimulants are, I don't know. I just feel like, what are the true effects of Adderall? That's what he's saying, but what are the side effects? What are the actual success stories in comparison to like mushrooms and stuff? Like it's just weird. Like penicillin is a form of fungus, right? So penicillin is no different than a mushroom. It was just built in a laboratory. It was through cultures, it was through accident, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we just created the most powerful healing thing ever. A big pharma is going to control this, and hey, let's say every mushroom is going to be illegal, and let's put it the highest level of felony.
Thank you, Linus Pauling.
Is that who did that?
Well, I think Linus Pauling might have invented or discovered penicillin, but Jonas Salk invented the vaccine.
Really? Well, it's crazy because if you look it up, like they actually have mushrooms that have healing properties, and it's crazy to think that like they took all this stuff away from us and just give us penicillin, which like so many people are. But I guess it's weird because I'm allergic to mushrooms, and I'm allergic to penicillin, and I'm also allergic to mushrooms. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
my phone says we need to wrap it up.
All right. I'll text you.
Thank you so much, and love you. Have a great night.
Let's do it, Dave, Trevor. See you, man. Bye. Hello there. I want to thank you for making it here. Man, and I want to thank Dave for living, Trevor for living, right? Gosh, such an interesting world. I hope you come back to learn more about Trevor and Dave. I really do. I hope you come back. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you made it to this point. I hope I created a little bit of curiosity for you on who he is, and who he was, and who he will hopefully become. Follow the journey. Maybe he'll do something cool and random and interesting. Or maybe he'll just continue to live in whatever form that he's choosing to live, right? Like, who's to know? But maybe you come back and find out. And if you enjoyed that, you're going to have to come back for more, right? you're gonna have to come back for more. I asked you earlier to like and subscribe and follow and do all kinds of that weird stuff you do on the internet, to be alerted when something you're interested in is uploaded and shared and exists for viewing and entertainment pleasures. And there's more than that, right? Like, there's more than that. Like, you could actually learn something from another human, right? Like, I could learn something from you. You could learn something from me. We could become, teachable and shareable, right? The knowledge is a two-way street. It's very exciting. It's a very exciting street. So why don't you come on back? And I'm going to continue being I'm going to continue existing amongst the world until I'm not here, right? And I hope that when I'm not here, I continue to be here based on the life that I lived and the people that I touched. And up until, every remnants of myself is gone, then I'll exist in one form or another, Nobody wants to leave this earth, but the fact is we're all going to leave. It's just a matter of how long we're going to stay. Right? Ooh, come back and check it out. Come back. Come back and hang out. Come on back now. Enjoy. And continue watching for some after talks. And this was a live stream, so I did have some other celestial souls, human form, in chat. So we're going to share some of the comments right now. Enjoy. And don't forget, like and subscribe and follow and like and heart and comment and do all kinds of weird stuff and say, hey, what's going on? But man, I'm going to exist with or without you. It's just going to be way cooler to exist together, right? So see you later. Who's next in the hot seat? He says. Oh, let's go. Where's we should probably hear a Rocket Bun cured her mind. Like I read that in there. I read this in here. I got to go back and catch up on some of this. I gotta see my ADD ramble is. I got that. It's so fucking lit, man. Where were we at? I saw Rocket. I saw you write something amazing in here. I saw it. I know you did. And I also saw somebody's dad flew around. It wasn't Elvis. There's somebody. Who did somebody's dad fly? Jay Leno. What's going on here? Whose dad flew around Jay Leno? What's up with this? I missed a lot of stuff here. Yeah. Never felt better. Oh, that's cool. That's fun. Man. Oh, let's go. Oh, Rocky, you're coming in. This is going down. Oh yeah. Hold on. Put some tunes on so you come in. Look at this one. Hold on. Yeah, you're in the hot seat. You're coming in. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hello there. Hello. Oh, it's coming. Ah, man.